We're going to be hearing from Ryan Mazelli and Emily Ramey from Ygrene Energy. They are the program administrators for the new property assessed clean energy financing program. So we want to bring this to you guys' attention. This is a great new program in the city of Atlanta, and it assists commercial property owners by providing financing and refinancing for the installation of energy efficient, water efficient, and renewable energy improvements. So we know you guys are heading into creating your budgets for next year. So as you're considering improvements that you might be making to your properties, we just want to let everybody know about this financing opportunity that is being administered by Ygrene. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and Emily. I should stop sharing, right? You guys have the slides? Okay.
Correct.
There we go.
Okay, and thank you very much. 1 second here.
So maybe we should introduce ourselves. I'm Emily Ramey. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us today. I'm the Director of Business Development for Ygrene Energy Fund on our commercial side. Ryan Mazelli is going to do the presenting. He's put this deck together. He's our expert in CPACE, which is the acronym for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy. And I had the pleasure of meeting with Michelle and Denise and other folks from Livable Buckhead 2 weeks ago when I was in Atlanta. So thank you, Michelle, for the hospitality and letting us be here today.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry, little trying to get it to full screen here for you guys. Let's see, share. How about I do this?
That looks okay to me. I mean, it's got the bar, but I don't know that it matters. It's pretty visible on the screen.
And if I do this, it
doesn't change. Oh, there we go. That's good. Yep, that's full screen.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Emily, and Ryan Mazelli, Managing Director of our commercial program. Really excited to launch this program with partnership with Invest Atlanta. And thank you, Livable Buckhead, for allowing us to communicate this new program that's been in the works for several years, and we're finally excited to launch. And you're one of the very first organizations to get a sneak peek at the launch of this program. So let's take a step back and understand really why programs like these exist from our legislators, policymakers. And it's because buildings make up a significant portion of the energy usage from the grid. And specifically, heating and cooling and lighting make up about 30% of the building's operating expenses. And so with the aging building stock that we're having across the country, and specifically in Atlanta as well, there are very inefficient measures that can be quickly upgraded to offset and reduce this large operating expense. There's also a big water component that large commercial buildings use about a large pool worth of water a day on average, every single day. And there are significant improvements now to reducing the building's water usage. And given the fight for water in the Southeast, this is even more important to the area. And so the legislators in Georgia adopted a program called PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy. We know governments love acronyms. And so I'll break down what PACE means. And so the first part, property assessed, is where this financing is assessed via a contractual assessment. And a good way to put it is we just talked about community improvement districts or development authorities. These districts can have taxing or quasi-government authority. And so these programs can be created and property taxes, or in this case, in Fulton County, this type of financing can be assessed and included on the waste bill. Given that the financing is assessed to the property, we as a program are going to look at just the property itself, not the borrower or the property owner being the borrower. Let's take a look at it being the property borrowing the capital. And this is a great alternative to traditional financing, given the simplicity and other benefits that traditional financing doesn't provide. And we'll get into that. So this financing can't just be for anything. It has to be specifically for certain property improvements. And so that's the second part, clean energy. That would be energy efficiency, renewable energy, or water conservation measures. So I actually like to maybe switch that up, the clean energy. I like to say capital expenditures, because clean energy, most people think of solar. And so saying that large capital expenditures for buildings would be maybe a better way to broaden your outlook on what the program can do. Now, it isn't a government program. It is a partnership with local governments. And what I'll explain here is Ygrene is the program. And Ygrene partners with the local government that creates an improvement district and creates a taxation authority. And so the local government provides the vehicle, but Ygrene is going to originate, do the operations, and provide the capital. So this is not coming from taxpayer dollars. It's not burdening the local governments on further resources. We're taking, as a program administrator, all of that on our shoulders from a private standpoint. And so this great partnership allows for the proper efficiencies with the two. And so these projects need to be installed. And so we partner with authorized contractors, and the third part of the mix is also building relationships through commercial property owners and affiliates. And the commercial property owners use the contractors to build the jobs or the improvements, and the property owners get to pay for these improvements through the property taxes or the solid waste bill. And so this is not new to, while this is new to Georgia and the city of Atlanta, this is not new to other states across the country. It was started in California in 2008 and has been adopted by over 37 states plus the District of Columbia, with over 3,500 municipalities joining the statewide programs. And since the inception in 2008, there's been over 2,500 commercial projects successfully funded across those states. And that's an accumulation of about $2 billion in commercial projects. So you can see where there's active and programs in development and all of that here. And so a little bit about Ygrene. We are the leading commercial and multifamily PACE provider nationwide. We are specifically a program administrator and capital provider, providing this specific financing in 3 states, and now including the city of Atlanta. We do operate both commercial and residential programs across these 3 states. We're launching Atlanta as a commercial only program at the moment, but we have funded over $2 billion in both property types. And more interestingly, if we can look at our scale, we have funded 1,500 commercial projects in just those 3 states. And on the previous slide, you saw there was about 2,500, or I think we're right about 2,800 right now with Pace Nation. That's a government, or sorry, not a government, a nonprofit that kind of tracks all of the programs. And so we're proud to say that we're funding over 50% of the total projects nationwide, given our scale and reach to all property owners in the commercial space. And so at Ygrene, we've created a program mission, and with the partnership of Invest Atlanta and us as the program administrator for our new Clean Energy Atlanta program, we're going to fund over $500 million in this financing over the next 3 to 5 years, so we can make the proper energy and water savings improvements, not only affordable, but easy for every commercial property owner in the city of Atlanta. So who is eligible? What property is eligible? And it will be any property that is privately owned in the city of Atlanta. And what property types that is anything of commercial use, multifamily. So anything that is, there's a stipulation there, anything that is 5 units and above, we consider that a commercial multifamily or property. That can also include office, flex space, hospitality, medical, retail, mixed use, warehouse, and other special uses, like let's say bowling alleys or golf courses. The only one ineligible property at the time is heavy industrial use of the property. And so there's a one carve out there. And so all you need to do is be current on your last 3 years of property taxes, as well as all property secured debt, and have at least 10% equity in the property from a fair market value perspective, and currently not in bankruptcy or have history of bankruptcy with the entity or ownership group. And so what eligible improvements are able to be installed? I've put these into 3 categories. One starting with energy efficiency. Some of the bigger ones on there would be LED lighting, windows and doors, insulation, HVAC systems, so all mechanical, elevator and building controls and roofing. Water conservation, we could look at cooling towers, drought tolerant landscaping, plumbing repairs for really outdated systems, changing sewer laterals, and even as small as waterless urinals. And then on a renewable side, we can do solar PV, solar hot water, cogen systems, so that's combined heat and power, and even energy storage and EV charging. And so what's the benefit of these upgrades? And really what we're increasing is operating efficiency, property value. What we can do with these improvements is it typically brings in newer tenants that are looking for better space with more improvements, so you can increase occupants rates. And given the efficiency of the property, we've seen increased rents and also tenant satisfaction around not only just productivity, but comfort. And given our new age of how this workspace is going to be, air quality and new improvements to the office space, most of those improvements can be PACE eligible to be financed. So as you're upgrading these buildings to bring back workers to the office, some of those or most of those can be an eligible improvement. And so let's go over some of the specific property owner benefits and kind of the confines of the program. So this is 100% financing for new and existing property upgrades. So there's no out-of-pocket cost as long as the eligibility of the property is there. We do offer 20-year fixed rate terms that are fully amortized. So this is much different than your typical loan, let's say for an office or retail center. We also can go up to 30% loan to value or loan to cost, but we cannot exceed 100% combined loan to value. We can finance up to or from $5,000 to 60+ million. And a really nice part of this is we can defer the first payment. You can secure the financing, make the improvements, install them, start to realize the energy savings or the benefits of those improvements before making that first annual payment through the waste bill. The other great part is there are no covenants, no guarantees, both corporate or personal. It is a non-recourse and no prepayment penalty financing. And so this provides flexibility and just really no performance clauses or anything. We're specifically looking at the property and those very basic eligibility requirements. And that gives us the power to finance. And so this tax financing or assessment payments can be passed through to most net leases, as property taxes are typically a pass through. And so given that this is a bill or line item on the bill, that can be passed through to those tenants. I'll bring this up is because what's interesting there is there's kind of a catch-22. Tenants want to have new improvements, but they're just a tenant and they're not necessarily responsible for these improvements. Yet they're the ones that are going to benefit from them. Yet they don't necessarily pay for them. So having the property owner take on the financing, however, having the pass-through allows for that split incentive to be combined. What I see mostly and in the office space or sector is these vital improvements can have a deep impact on the energy usage. And while keeping rents equal or increasing, it can impact your bottom line and increase net operating income. And we all know increase in NOI, all things equal, can increase property values. We also can do new construction, and during that new construction development of the capital stack, we can create more efficiency in the stack by replacing higher cost mezzanine or bridge loan debt financing. The other product we have is a retroactive financing. So if you have made property upgrades in the recent history or past, we can inject capital back into the business or into the property for liquidity purposes, to pay off or pay down higher debt, or pay that debt service because there's been occupancy or vacancy issues, and provide the needed rescue capital to keep the property current.
Ryan, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
What's the time period for the retroactive financing?
Great question. So we're still getting confirmation from Invest Atlanta and the other stakeholders of where we're going to draw the line in the sand. Historically, it's been across other programs has been a 3-year look back. So I'm going to go between anywhere from 1 to 3 years.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So given that we are fairly simple in our underwriting process, we can get a decision in less than 5 business days. And when we commence underwriting from an application, we're seeing an average of about a 45-day close. Some much quicker, some a little bit longer, depending on, but that's going to be roughly the average. And so that's about half of the time to close than traditional financing. And so time is money, right? And so, well, what's the cost of this money? And so we have current tiers of less than 500,000. You'll see interest rates range from about 6.25 to 7.25. Between 500,000 and $1 million, we're seeing rates range from 5 3/4 to 6 3/4, and then projects over $1 million, you'll see in the mid 5s to the high 5s. So origination fees, this is the cost of doing business with Ygrene and funding our operations. And so those origination points are rolled into the amount financed, but those can range from 1% to 3%. Invest Atlanta and the other program costs, we do recover at 50 basis points or 0.5%. And the Fulton County tax collector does take or add a 1% fee to the payment each year. We have a great website you can go to, ygrene.com/commercial. There's also, and I forgot to put on here, but there's also a landing page at the Invest Atlanta website where it goes over the general parameters of the program as well. So you can go there under their various programs. My colleague Emily's, who's on the Zoom call today, her contact information is here as well as mine. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate the time here to explain this program. And I'm ready to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you, Ryan and Emily. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions that they want to ask Ryan and Emily at this time about the PACE financing program, please speak up. I'm sure if you have a question, someone else on the call probably has a similar question. So
keep that up, sorry.
I wanted to add that I put some case studies in the chat box. I also put a link to our How It Works video, just in case that can help refresh this presentation. It's just a simple, I think, 2.5-minute video about how the commercial CPACE program works and the eligible property types and improvements. And then I put a few of our case studies in. Those are from our active markets in California and Florida. So just keep in mind, we haven't yet developed the book of business to feature those in Atlanta, but we're looking forward to doing that. But that gives you a sense of the types of projects that we've completed. And then additionally, if you have questions about how this financing can work in complement to some other traditional finance options that you've used, perhaps at lower interest rates, Ryan's really the expert in that space for the institutional property owners that this group really is, right? So I think it's important to ping his brain for, how does this work in complement or in concert with some of the other ways that you may be able to get lower interest rate financing. There's direct advantages with PACE that are very distinct to our program in terms of no prepayment penalties, longer terms that are spread out. So there's really some distinct advantages that I think are important for this group to keep in mind with respect to the rates. And I wanted to make sure to just hit on that because that was something Michelle thought was important to this group.
Yeah, we know many in this group have access to traditional lenders that may have lower interest rates, but as Emily and Ryan are explaining, there are ways for the two programs to work in concert with each other. We wanted to make sure you guys knew that. And Emily, in the case studies that you shared, are any of them similar properties to our to the properties that are represented by our group today?
Yes, they are.
Class A office buildings, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I included two case studies that are Class A office or retail mixed use, and then also a multifamily case study as well as a hospitality case study, because those are sectors that we serve as well. I don't know that that applies to this group, but in particular, the hospitality case study features our refinance program, and that's really important and has been very compelling to Class A office property owners amongst all property types, honestly, through the impacts of COVID-19 and some of the shelter-in-place orders, et cetera, and just giving property owners access to capital in this market.
Thank you.